Just because Christmas is right around the corner and Halloween's over doesn't mean the creeps are done being creepy. I'm still working a 24-hour shift, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You hear me, boy? And that doesn't mean that he didn't die.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what we are doing is reacting to 6 of the most disturbing internet
challenge. On June 3rd,
She'll turn off the
2023,
lights
an
real quick.
18-year-old teen tragically passed.
Good call. The Christmas tree stayed on for good merit.
I'm sipping up on Madeline with Lena Fan. I found dome. Oh, Santa. Oh, scary.
Passed away after falling in front of a truck in Tangerang, Indonesia. However, what made this particular incident stand out among the dozens of traffic-related deaths on Indonesian roads every day was that this was not an accident. Instead, this was the result of one of the most disturbing internet trends that was sweeping the country during this time. It had actually started back in 2021, but exploded in popularity in mid-2022. The trend was called the Malaikat Mau Challenge, or the Angel of Death Challenge in English.
I did that once.
It involved TikTokers, mainly teenagers, playing a game with oncoming traffic, particularly loaded trucks. Their goal was to run out onto a busy street in front of a truck, hope it stops before hitting them without flinching, and post the video of the stunt online. But completing this dangerous challenge successfully was a lot harder than many of its unfortunate participants realized. Most of them jumped onto the road as the truck got extremely close, giving the driver virtually no time to notice them and apply the brakes. But even when drivers had enough time to see the kids performing these stunts, they still couldn't slow down in time to prevent
Yeah, a
tragedy.
big truck ain't gonna be able to
Trucks usually
stop.
carry heavy cargo,
No.
and that weight doesn't stop on a dime. The heavier the load, the longer the braking distance, sometimes stretching dozens of meters even after the brakes are fully pressed. So by the time the drivers reacted, it was already too late. Not to mention the fact that this trend was also putting the truck drivers at risk, both physically and psychologically.
Yeah, what the heck?
For one of these cases, involving a 14-year-old participating in this challenge, the driver fled the scene, likely out of fear of facing criminal charges. If he had instead stopped and cooperated, the footage of the teenager's friends captured for TikTok would have proven his innocence. But by running away, he turned himself into a hit-and-run suspect, potentially
Nice.
jeopardizing his job and even his freedom depending on the charges he received. Following the incident in Tangerang, Indonesian police acted quickly to prevent further tragedies. They managed to stop 14 more kids from attempting the same dangerous stunt that very day and continued to monitor the city over the upcoming months. However, the attempts in Tangerang, Indonesia were only a small part of the global trend that cost several lives and left many others
Hot dog
with life-altering
pancake.
injuries over the next year. Thankfully, TikTok eventually stepped in and removed all content related to the Angel of Death challenge. And
That
since
doesn't
social
make
media
any sense.
validation was the main reason participants took part in this
Yeah.
dangerous trend, the platform's ban caused it to gradually fade into obscurity. Happy
That is
Like what-
so stupid.
What do you get from that?
A semi-popular video on TikTok gets taken down.
After you're literally in the afterlife?
Yeah. That is so dumb. Good lord.
I mean, that's
Wow.
ridiculous.
Smartest Indonesian.
slapping. On the 21st of January
God.
2005, the Tez magazine in the UK reported on a new trend spreading rapidly across the country, something they referred to as happy slapping. Contrary to its name, however, the trend was anything but happy. In essence, it involved people, often young adults or teenagers, going up to a random person, slapping them, recording their shocked reaction, and then sharing that video with others. Personal camcorders and phones with cameras were becoming a lot more accessible during this time, allowing the attackers to record their crime and share it as something funny. These happy slapping
assaulting
videos were
someone.
shared all over the internet for the whole world to see. As for how this trend initially started, some reports from the time linked them to violent TV shows like Jackass and Dirty Sanchez. A big difference between these shows and the happy slapping videos, however, was that everyone on TV consented to enduring the pain on camera. The people filming happy slapping videos, on the other hand, usually targeted complete strangers and bystanders for what they perceived as social clout. As a media expert from
crazy.
that time explained it, what we see
I
the
promise
kids
you.
watching these shows doing is
I promise. If I'm walking and someone stands up and slaps me across the face, what do you think is gonna happen?
Well, it's in London, so everybody's a pussy. But anywhere else in the
True.
world, I think they would just get smoked.
Or you're gonna get freaking stabbed there.
Yeah.
If you did that in America, you'd either get shot or beat up.
Yeah. I don't know how, like, it's just so stupid.
I'd kick the literal piss out of somebody.
Avacadabra! Shut the heck up, bro.
thinking, well, maybe I could stage my own scenes of pain and humiliation along these lines. Then with happy slapping, people are drawn in as random victims rather than the kind of voluntary performances we get in the shows that are being copied. I think
This one still
slapping
isn't
has
even
become
close
a
to as dumb
shortcut
as
in
the
the
first
eyes
one.
of the slappers to fame and notoriety among the people who see the images circulated on the web or sent to them via their mobile phones. And while that was already bad enough on its own, things quickly took an even darker turn. As time went on, the recordings became increasingly violent, likely in an effort to outdo one another and stand out in the sea of dozens, if not hundreds of similar videos. Things went from humiliating but physically harmless slaps to coordinated attacks resulting in permanent injuries. One of the worst cases of this happened on August 31st, 2009 in South London. A 67-year-old retired care worker named
How old was he?
So say that again?
2009 in South London. A 67-year-old retired care worker named Ekram Haq left the mosque on Church Lane in Tooting, England after the evening prayer, where he was then approached by two boys, 15-year-old Hamza Lazai and 16-year-old Leon Elcock, wanting to make a happy slapping video. Things quickly spiraled out of control as neither of them held back, resulting in Ekram passing away a week later from a severe head injury he received during the incident. The two were eventually identified and arrested after police reviewed CCTV footage from a nearby camera. Both pled guilty to manslaughter, with Leon receiving a 4.5-year sentence and Hamza sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. The happy slapping trend as a whole eventually faded away after the UK and the surrounding countries started treating it as a significant threat.
With this little boy right next to him.
With France even
Wow.
criminalizing it and giving it a
That's just
punishment of up
dumb.
to 5 years in prison.
This one is just dumb, straight up. Like, that is dumb.
Skullbreaker Challenge.
What?
Oh my
On
God.
February 14th, 2020, 12-year-old Parker Smith was invited by his friends to film what seemed like a harmless jumping contest.
Teachers would take
He
baseball
agreed
bats to
and
students'
on camera
heads.
jumped the highest he could, but instead of landing safely on his feet, he fell backward and fractured his right arm. He was rushed to the hospital immediately and fortunately made a full recovery over the following weeks. However, what seemed like a simple accident turned out to be part of a disturbing internet trend his two friends were attempting to recreate. The so-called Skullbreaker Challenge required
I know
3
this
people
one.
to stand
Yeah.
in a line.
Huh?
I said I know this one.
Oh, this is the current one.
Yeah. Which is
Oh,
messed up.
And some
Unless you're gonna catch them, I would do this to somebody, but I would like grab them.
You have to catch them.
If you don't, they're gonna whack their freaking
They're going to
head.
get hurt,
like-
man. They're going to break a wrist, trying to catch themselves. Like, that kid broke his arm, probably because he tried to catch himself.
Yeah.
That's like one of the things, like, my dad always taught me from, like, when I was a little kid, just don't try and catch yourself because you'll break your wrist or your arm. Just try and, like, land, like,
Yeah.
don't put your arms out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a hard thing.
Definitely.
I can't believe that that many people are doing it to where they're, like, not catching them, you know?
That is a friggin' hard thing to do. Not like stop, like try to catch yourself.
It's very hard. You fall down enough, you get used to it, though. Have bad enough of a line, you'll get used to it.
somehow convinced the person in the middle to jump. As soon as they did, the two on the outside swept the legs of the one in the middle, who was usually unaware of what was about to happen.
best case scenario
This
for
caused
her.
them to
Yeah,
fall
like, that's
backward,
fine.
Usually on their
Yeah,
head,
it's fine.
which is where the trend got its name from. It started
Dude.
earlier that year after a video of two students from Spain doing it on their friend went viral on social media platforms like TikTok.
Those kids are
prompting
full-on
countless
kicking.
imitators to
Seriously,
try and
look at that.
recreate its success.
Freaking Frodo. I think they're lining up for a 50-yard field goal.
Says. And as you might imagine, the results were disastrous. With Parker being one of the lucky ones for walking away with just a fractured arm, many others were knocked unconscious by the impact.
My
suffered from
gosh.
Severe concussions, and some even needed multiple stitches across their skull and face.
How
The
good of a
most
friend would you feel like
devastating of these
after
incidents
doing
happened
that?
on January
Dude.
24, 2020 in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, when a group of 7th graders attempted the challenge in school. Unfortunately, the victim fell way too hard on their head, causing them to lose consciousness and have a seizure. He luckily survived the incident and eventually recovered without any permanent head trauma.
Wow.
However, his initial condition was bad enough that authorities arrested the other two 13-year-old boys. They were charged with third-degree aggravated assault and third-degree endangering an injured victim since the harm they caused was mostly intentional.
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't able to
It
find
is
any
intentional.
reports on whether the charges were dropped or not. But even if they were,
I don't know.
they were
I feel like with
arrested
that,
for
it's
attempting a
like,
dangerous internet.
obviously, I don't think they're meaning to like hurt the person, but I just think they're not thinking it through like most trends. Like, I feel like obviously they don't want their friend to bust their head open, but like, what do you think is gonna happen?
Yeah, they're just
It's
that
just another
stupid.
thing of like teenagers doing crap that they're
Yeah,
just not
you're
think
right.
about the consequences.
You're right, but they still do deserve the consequences, right? You agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. 'Cause it's like, what do you think? Like, you're just gonna get away with it? Like, no.
What did you expect, you bunch of idiots? Do you think he was gonna start floating?
That's on you for not catching that before actually doing it. Like,
Sure.
thinking about the outcome.
Seriously, you got to be a special kind of stupid for that. Honestly,
Yeah.
you really do.
Challenge goes to show just how dangerous it can be. TikTok also stepped in and banned all videos of this challenge on their platform. Unfortunately, once
true.
something is on the internet, it never truly goes away. As evident from two girls finding videos of the Skullbreaker challenge, attempting it on one of their classmates, injuring them, and getting charged for it in November 2022, more than 2.5 years after the original fad ended. Fortunately, there haven't been many reports of kids getting injured because of this challenge ever since.
And how do you do that to somebody? I feel like I would feel like an a-hole.
The powerful, yet
I wouldn't be able to do it.
thinnest
I would
AI-powered
do it, but I would
payload
like catch them.
Kia
I wouldn't let them
challenge.
fall backwards, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Near the end of 2020 and throughout 2021, authorities in Milwaukee, Wisconsin noticed a significant increase in car theft. What made this even stranger was the fact that the majority of these stolen vehicles were either from Kia or Hyundai, with theft of these particular cars doubling or even tripling in some areas compared to previous
crazy.
years. However, before investigators could determine the cause of this surge, the situation spiraled beyond their control in ways they could have never expected. Put simply, stealing Kia and Hyundai cars became an internet trend called the Kia Challenge. It began on July
I have a
12,
Kia.
2022, when a video
Crap.
captioned Kia Boys went viral for demonstrating just how easy it was to steal Kia and Hyundai cars manufactured between 2011 and 2021. All a thief needed was a screwdriver and any regular USB cable, since the connector just so happened to be the perfect size and shape to jumpstart the vehicle. This was a major hardware-level security flaw in dozens of car models, and there was
And how
no
did you
permanent way
figure
to
that
fix
out?
the problem either. Now, the original Kia Boys video was eventually taken down by TikTok, but the information was already out there and it already sparked the Kia Challenge. Teenagers across the US started breaking into Kias and Hyundais and posting their stunts on social media to participate in the challenge. While the stolen cars caused a massive financial burden for hundreds of innocent residents, the real danger of the Kia Challenge came from what many of the thieves did once they had taken control of the vehicles. Since many of them had no intention of actually profiting off the stolen cars and were only doing it for the internet, they began taking the cars for reckless joyrides around
Why would you
town,
fly it
putting
through
their
smoke
lives
like
and the
that?
lives of everyone else on the road in extreme danger. One of these joyrides led to a police chase, which eventually ended with the out-of-control car slamming into the concrete barrier and the teenagers who stole the car trying to flee on foot. The most disturbing
forget
of
your
these
purse.
incidents occurred in Buffalo, New York in October 2022, where a stolen Kia ride ended in a fatal
my
crash,
gosh.
taking the lives
Nice.
of 4 teenagers. In total, the Kia Challenge
It took the
resulted in
lives
the
of 4
loss
teenagers,
8
you said?
Yeah,
It's on you, bro.
it is. That's actually, do you know what that's called? It's called natural selection.
lives before the disturbing trend was shut down by TikTok
God.
and other social platforms. Kia and Hyundai also had to settle a class action lawsuit for $200 million over the dangerously lax security in their cars.
Okay, so they got pocket
Crazy.
change taken from them.
Yeah.
Car surfing.
That's crazy, though.
Car surfing, or riding on the outside of a car as if it were a surfboard, has existed as a trend long before modern social media was even a thing. It started gaining popularity in the early 1990s, compelling teenagers and young adults to speed down the highway while precariously balancing themselves on top. Today, most modern cars don't have much to hang on to on the outside to improve aerodynamics, which makes this already high-risk activity even more deadly. It only takes one small slip for even the most daring car surfer to fall into the road. Something that's evident from a 2008 CDC report, which revealed that 58 people lost their
About to
lives
fall
while
asleep.
engaging in car surfing.
I know.
And 41 other
No, really? They died from it? What do they expect? What's the best case scenario here? You wrote a block on top of
58
the car?
deaths. Holy calzone.
Others
That
were
is
severely
crazy.
injured since 1990. Unfortunately, the rise of social media and the desire
Yo, people keep dying from this. I think we should do it, bro.
to go viral with outrageous stunts have only driven that number higher ever since. Most recently, in May 2023, a 16-year-old boy tragically lost his life while car surfing out the back window of a car when the vehicle lost control and rolled over. He would have almost certainly kept his life if he were in his seat.
What
with
did
his
it say
control
before? A
and
pipe
rolled
bomb?
over.
Look at this.
He would have almost certainly kept his
Possible
life
pipe
if he were
bomb,
in his
okay.
seat with his
Jeez.
seatbelt. Sadly, the car surfing trend is just as alive today as it was 3 decades ago.
No, it
Shows
isn't.
no signs of
Shut
fading
up.
away anytime soon.
No, it's not. That's just a straight up lie. No one's doing that.
Only idiots are doing that.
Blackout Challenge. The Blackout Challenge has existed long before social media. The goal in this challenge is to achieve a brief high that comes from cutting off oxygen to the brain by
Okay,
intentionally
what?
suffocating until you lose consciousness. However, while many assume that blacking out from lack of oxygen is perfectly safe in the long run, that couldn't be further from the truth. The rewarding high in this challenge is in reality a dangerous form of cerebral hypoxia, where brain cells are deprived of vital oxygen. This can lead to seizures and hemorrhages. Even if someone survives the challenge seemingly unharmed, depriving the brain of oxygen for just a minute can cause permanent, irreversible damage. This can affect memory, reasoning, and other critical cognitive functions in the long run. The line between a fleeting, dangerous thrill and irreversible tragedy is terrifyingly thin, and once consciousness is lost, there is no way to control the outcome. Not to mention the very real risk of the person never waking up again. Unfortunately, many who try to recreate this challenge are completely unaware of these dangers, resulting in 82 people losing their
6
lives
to 19 years old.
between 1995 and 2000.
Huh?
6 to 19 years old. Is that what it? Wait.
Yeah.
Why? That's crazy. 71 were male. 86% were male.
Well, that doesn't surprise me at all.
No.
2007 alone. What makes this even worse is that almost all of these deaths were between the ages of 6 and 19. Much like other
put up-
viral trends,
just put a random picture
young,
of his nephew or
impressionable
something.
Kids are especially drawn in, motivated.
Of all pictures of a
much
little
like
kid,
even
and that's the one he
worse is that
chooses?
almost validation, online or in real life.
Okay.
Which is why the resurgence of the Blackout Challenge through social media platforms like TikTok brought it to an even younger audience and left a devastating trail of victims. One of the most well-known cases is that of Nyla Anderson, a 10-year-old girl from Pennsylvania. Her family found her unconscious on the bedroom floor on the night of December 7, 2021. They rushed her to the nearby hospital. Unfortunately, it was already too late. After barely clinging to life for 5 days, she tragically passed away without ever waking up. No one knew why she would do something like this,
Oh.
until investigators did a forensic analysis of her phone, which revealed she had been viewing videos of the challenge on TikTok. Another tragic instance happened in April 2022 when a 12-year-old
That's why
boy
kids
from
shouldn't have
United
social
Kingdom
media until they can
Archie Battersby
Yeah.
suffered
make
a
decisions on their for
brain
themselves.
damage after attempting
Yeah,
the challenge
exactly.
and passed away months later. And these weren't isolated incidents either. Numerous other children, some as young as 8, suffered a similar fate or other life-altering injuries after attempting this challenge. Sadly, despite social media sites' best efforts to suppress the challenge, it continues to spread to this day.
Shut up. It doesn't. It doesn't continue to spread. Nobody's doing that, bro. God, people are so stupid. It's also parents' fault. That's bad parenting, letting their kids be on social media for that long before they're a certain age, and just like have an idea of what your kid's doing.
Oh.
God. I'm such a bad parent. Think about that. Think about saying that. I'm such a bad parent. I let my kid force themselves to pass out for an internet challenge, and they died.
Quick story time.
Wait, scoot your mic closer.
Say quick story time real quick. The Tide Pod challenge.
Did you do
I
it?
remember. No, I didn't. I'm not a dumbass. But I remember being on vacation with Parker Rogers and Ethan Acord in Florida. And that was like when I had gotten the John Wick skin like right before I had left. Like I was grinding out before Parker came and picked me up.
You think
So I
Clayton
could-
has that, Ethan?
He does. But so That was like when that was popular. And we were about to go to sleep one night, and there was a thing of Tide Pods at like the apartment, and Ethan Acord was like joking around, and he like put one in his mouth and like spit it out or something, and then like he like immediately started crying. He's like, I don't want to die, and he was like get on nerves, and he was like asking me to sleep next to him in case he stopped breathing in the middle of the night. I'm like, dude, I'm like, you're fine, I think.
That's hilarious.
He was like freaking wigging out. I was like, dude, you gotta chill out. You're fine. It was freaking hilarious.
Wow.
I'll fall asleep though.
Yeah. Let's go to bed, Ethan.
It's 12:30.
Is it? Good
Yeah.
Lord. All right.
Let's
Well,
sleep till Brooklyn.
see you, everybody.
Thanks for watching. Let's talk to